הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה 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 נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. My name is Pat Dickinson, and I am your service leader this morning. Our homily today will be presented by Reverend Victoria. Tim Vierstieg will tell the story for all ages, and the music today is by Rachel Derry, Cindy Carey, and Joanne Deere. You're all quite familiar with Zoom by now, but I would remind you to use the chat function in a private mode rather than to everyone. And to remember, you can turn off your video if you wish. You just find the little video icon and click on it, and that will disappear you from the screen if you wish. You're also invited to join us for chat rooms at the end of the session after the announcements, or you can leave at that time. We are not the first people on this land, nor will we be the last. We acknowledge our connection to the web of all existence, honoring the past and preparing for the future. The stewardship of the original people who lived here preserved this place for our generation, and we seek to be respectful stewards of this place for those who follow. Our goal in this congregation is to extend our hearts in welcome to whomever you may be, wherever you are on your journey of faith, search for meaning, and to whomever you love. We are connected through our desire to live out our ideals of peace, love, and justice for all. We are here to love one another and encourage each other to spiritual growth. Our congregational mission is to nurture one another, serve the community, and inspire action that heals the world. We begin this service with these opening words from Arlene Goff's reading, Thresholds. We cross them every day, from outside to inside, from anywhere to everywhere, from age to age. Each threshold offers an opportunity for change, for renewal, for transformation.
Join me in repeating our chalice lighting words. May this flame be our light of friendship and love. And together we're going to sing this morning. That's our next task. Let's join Rachel in hymn 360.
360, here we have gathered. Here we have gathered side by side, circle of kinship
enter now into a time of contemplation, breathing and allowing heart, mind, and spirit to relax into this moment. After our reading, there'll be a couple moments of silence and then some chanting in which you are invited to join with Cindy. I'm going to follow along with more words from Arlen Goff from that poem that Pat started, Thresholds. Take a deep breath and relax. In this hour and in this place, we cross a threshold from our day-to-day everydayness into space and time attuned to the other, to the sacred, to the holy, into an awareness of new life that is filled with possibility. How will we be renewed in this moment? How will we be changed by this hour? How will we be transformed through this gathering of beloved community? Oh, come, come, you longing, thirsty souls. Come and let us worship together.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe out.
So today we're talking about the phenomenon of aging in our lives. And with luck, we are granted the proverbial golden years, a time when the expectations of life change as a result of our aging out of our full-time occupations or employments. We reach 65 perhaps and finally qualify unequivocally for that senior discount. We are then in what experts call the third age of our lives, a time of retirement from former pursuits into a new reality of opportunities and rewards. Perhaps travel, more time with friends and family, maybe volunteering or pursuing our hobbies more in depth, and maybe even delving deeper into an area of interest and scholarly pursuit. Of course, with our age comes some inevitable decline. Our bodies start to have new aches and pains, and we find it more challenging to remember why we came into a room, and our energy changes, and perhaps we don't see quite as well as we used to. When I was very young, about 60 years ago, my great-grandmother always responded, "Old," when she was asked how she was feeling, although at that time she was only in her early 60s. And for her generation, she was born in 1893, that was old. She spent almost 40 years of her life being old before she died at age 96. And now people are much more long-lived. They remain more vibrant and capable in their aging years than they did back then, I think. With the arrival of baby boomers, of course, things changed in the world of aging. We see many seniors who remain active in their 80s and 90s. I mean, all you have to do is look at the great role models in our own congregation. And our old cultural norms about what it means to get older have changed radically. It's more and more common to hear of people who find success and satisfaction in their later years. You will recall that the famed painter Grandma Moses did not even pick up a paintbrush until she was 76. Here are some other examples. Dame Judi Dench got her first Oscar at the age of 64. John H. Johnson led the success of magazines like Jet and Ebony, and he was the first African American who was named to the Forbes 400 list at the age of 64. And for those of you into comic books, you will remember that Stan Lee published his first comic book in the Fantastic Four series at the age of 40, which is no spring chicken apparently, but then he went on to write many more and appear in films of his works up until his death a couple of years ago at 95. Sometimes our dreams just take longer to come into reality, I guess. Perhaps we need to experience more or become more seasoned before we can translate our passions into pursuits. As the writer C.S. Lewis tells us, you are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. The new accent that we are hearing about is on conscious aging, which has been dubbed saging, arises from the work of Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi, who was the author of the book From Aging to Saging. When he became concerned about his own moving into older years and concerned about his physical decline, his fear of infirmity, and panic over the inevitability of his death, the rabbi turned his retirement years into an in-depth study of the possibility of life's third age. And in his writing, he talks about the developmental opportunities that are available to us mentally and spiritually, emotionally, physically, and socially if we choose to engage in constant aging instead of just merely getting older. It's his way of encouraging us to age wisely and well, considering the wisdom that we've gained over our years and finding ways to share that gift with future generations. He tells us that the first step in that process is to face our own mortality. You know that old axiom from Ben Franklin. In this world, nothing is said to be certain except death and taxes. When we reach an age where we find that we have more years behind us than before us, I think we start to think about our legacy and what that means. What have we done with our lives? What might there be left for us to do? And how do we want to use these few precious days and months and years that we have left? I love to go to thrift stores, and I found a CD the other day of Bonnie Raitt singing Nick of Time, a wonderful song from my earlier years. And there's a great verse there. When did the choices get so hard with so much more at stake? Life gets mighty precious when there's less of it to waste. You know, none of us is getting out of this world alive. So as we go through our childhood years, our experiences of gaining skills and abilities and knowledge and tools, and as we get older, we face a reverse process where our life starts to diminish. We have less mobility and less health, perhaps less capacity, less energy. And we have some control over that process if we take good care of ourselves, but there's really a lot that we don't have control over. Things happen. We get sick, we develop a chronic illness, we become less physically able, perhaps we are financially more limited, we have a smaller circle of social support and companionship, and ultimately we lose it all in death. It is the way, they say, of all flesh. Coping with life's losses and its inevitable end is also part of that conscious aging process. And again, while we don't always have a great deal of control over some of the realities of our aging lives, what we do have control over is how we react to these changing circumstances. Like my great-grandmother, if we think we're old, we will probably start acting whatever our image of old is. And that's a choice we make. Our own UU predecessor Henry David Thoreau once said, "None of us are so old as those who have outlived enthusiasm." You know, aliveness contains curiosity and openness to the new and the different, a sense of tenacity about life and a willingness to keep heart and mind open to what's next, no matter what that might be. A second key to living sagely is living each day with a sense of meaning and purpose, coming at our lives from a sense of passion and interest, and that helps keep the cells alive, the mind alert, and the spirit young. I know it's not always easy to keep a sunny perspective in the face of diminishment and change. And many of us have our experience of down days, and maybe we even move into depression as we experience our lives getting what feels like smaller and more limited. That is a very natural reaction. And if it's as serious as depression, we have medications that can help. But of course, one thing we need to learn is to work with the time that we have as maximally and effectively as we can, so that we can feel more of a sense of being content, having a sense of our own well-being, and feeling like we have gratitude for a life that has been well lived. Part of that, in all phases of life, is working on giving up our attachments, that Buddhist principle of letting go of our fear of old grudges, anger, letting go of those places where we have refused to forgive others or to forgive ourselves. It's an opportunity that we can take in our senior years as a productive place for spiritual growth and healing. We all have habits and patterns in our lives. Some of them are quite unconscious. We're not really even aware of them. And some of them serve us well. Frankly, others hinder us. Our senior years are a time to look at those habits and those patterns and consciously pull them to the surface. Take a hard look and go, is this serving my life? Is this serving beauty? Or is this something that I'm ready to give up? It's time to look at those. Keep the ones that leave you vital and engaged and satisfied. And bid goodbye to those things that rent space in your mind but never pay the bill. And the last step to conscious aging is to consider your legacy. How will you know that your life mattered? What of you will survive into the future? Will it be those people that you have impacted for good? Those you have loved? Will it be the wisdom you have shared through mentoring or modeling, teaching or sharing? You know, legacies don't have to be the endowed chairs in the School of Physics at a local university. It doesn't have to be an edifice named for you as a monument to civic pride. Legacies come in all shapes and sizes, and most of us will create and leave behind modest legacies rather than grand. It's enough to impact another life positively. It's enough to make others smile when they remember you. It's enough to do the things that you can do that will leave this world a little bit better than the way you found it when you came in. So, despite the fact that the end of life will come to all of us, what really matters is the path that we follow and choose to take to get there. Not all of the circumstances along that path are going to be things that we appreciate in the moment. And rather, it's going to be our approaches and our strategies and our attitudes that will help us stay on that path and continue to look for opportunities, even as the path leads us toward the inevitable. I pray that each of us chooses a path that when we finally come to our final rest, we can be content about where we've been and satisfied with who we are and proud of what we have become. Blessed be.
118, This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine, well, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Our benediction is called Shine, and it's by Mary Eads. Like the cosmic dust following after a great meteor, we are the living remnants of time and all that has come to pass in its wake, briefly shining lights on the way to eternity. We are only visible to the naked eye for an instant. Take this moment to shine like the star dust you are. May the light of our time on earth shine to bless the world and each other. Shine, shine, shine.
Life has taught me this, every day is new. And if anything is true, all that matters when we're through is how we love. Faced with what we lack, some things fall apart, but from the ashes new dreams start. All that matters to the heart is breaks, chances come again. If we lose or if we win, all that matters in the end is how we love. How we love, how we love. I will not forget your kindness when I needed it so much. Sometimes we forget trying to be strong in this world of right and wrong. All that matters when you're gone, all that mattered all along, all we have that carries on is how we love. How we love, how we love. From the smallest acts of kindness, in a word, a smile, a touch. Life has taught me this every day.